First Contact Protocol. The void of space stretched endlessly before the Vigilant, Earth's most advanced starship, as it patrolled the outer reaches of human territory. Captain Maya Reyes stood on the bridge, her dark eyes reflecting the starlight from the main viewport. The ship represented humanity's greatest achievement, sleek, powerful, and carrying technologies that had been theoretical just 5 years ago. Captain, we're detecting multiple warp signatures approaching from Sector 7, Lieutenant Omar Khalid announced, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Configuration unknown. Definitely not human or any of our allied species. Maya straightened her uniform and moved closer to the tactical display. How many? 17. No, 23 vessels. Largest ones are approximately 3 times our size. Omar's voice remained steady, but Maya noted the tension in his shoulders. Commander Devi Sharma, Maya's executive officer, joined them at the console. First contact scenario. Possibly, Maya replied, but the formation suggests military. Yellow alert, all stations. Let's be cautious but not provocative. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency as alert panels shifted from blue to amber. The Vigilant wasn't just any vessel. It was the first ship equipped with the experimental void shield technology, a defensive system that had never been tested in actual combat. Maya hoped today wouldn't be its baptism by fire. Unknown vessels dropping out of FTL in 5-4. Omar counted down. The view screen automatically adjusted as space seemed to ripple, disgorging massive warships. Their design was angular and predatory, covered in what appeared to be weapon emplacements, their hulls a deep crimson that stood out starkly against the blackness of space. "We're being scanned," reported Ensign Zhang from the sensor station. "Intensive deep scans. They're trying to penetrate our defensive systems." Maya's expression hardened. "Raise shields. Maintain yellow alert, but power weapon systems to standby." "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Riley Park announced. On screen. The view screen shifted to reveal a being with gray, chitinous skin and multiple yellow eyes arranged in a semicircle across its broad face. It wore what appeared to be some form of military regalia adorned with symbols Maya didn't recognize. "Attention, human vessel." The alien's voice was surprisingly melodic, despite its harsh appearance. "I am Grand Admiral Vrex of the Krell Dominion. You have entered contested space. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Maya stepped forward, projecting calm authority. "This is Captain Maya Reyes of the Earth Starship Vigilant. According to all interstellar treaties and star charts, we are well within recognized human territory. It is you who have entered our space, Admiral." The alien's multiple eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Maya couldn't interpret. "Your understanding is outdated, Captain. The Krell Dominion has claimed this sector and all systems within 50 light-years of our current position. Your presence here constitutes an incursion." Commander Sharma whispered quietly, "Captain, we have no record of any Krell territorial claims in this region. Nothing's come through diplomatic channels." Maya nodded slightly before addressing the screen again. "Admiral Vrex, this is the first contact between our peoples. We have received no formal notification of territorial claims through established galactic protocols. I suggest we arrange a diplomatic meeting, Toe." "There is nothing to discuss," Vrex interrupted. "The Dominion does not negotiate over what is already ours. Your species is new to interstellar travel and lacks understanding of galactic realities. Power down your shields and weapons and prepare to be boarded. Your vessel will be studied, and your crew relocated. This is a generous offer." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't first contact. It was an invasion force. "I'm afraid I must decline your generous offer, Admiral. As representatives of Earth, we cannot surrender our vessel or abandon this territory without proper diplomatic proceedings." The Krell Admiral's posture shifted subtly. "You misunderstand, Captain. This was not a request. You have one of your Earth hours to comply, or we will take your ship by force. Your primitive defenses cannot withstand our weaponry." The transmission cut abruptly, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Options? Maya asked, turning to her senior staff. Chief Science Officer Dr. Elias Chen spoke up. Captain, long-range scans confirm 23 vessels. Their technology appears to be approximately 30 years ahead of standard Earth fleet capabilities. But we're not standard, Lieutenant Commander Jackson Riley, weapons officer, pointed out. The Vigilant was built to test the void shield and quantum displacement drive. We might have a chance. Maya's mind raced through scenarios. The Vigilant was designed as a technological testbed with capabilities beyond any other human ship, but it was never intended to face an entire enemy fleet alone. Yet retreating would mean abandoning this sector to an aggressive species that had shown no interest in diplomacy. Contact Earth Command. Priority Alpha, she ordered. We need reinforcements. Communications Officer Park worked her console, then looked up with concern. Captain, they're jamming all subspace frequencies. We can't get a message through. They've surrounded us in a standard encirclement pattern, Omar reported. All escape vectors covered. Maya took a deep breath. Then we stand our ground. This ship represents the future of humanity's defense technology. If these Krell want to test us, they'll get more than they bargained for. She turned to her weapons officer. Jackson, bring all offensive systems online. Tactical analysis of their fleet. I want to know their weaknesses. Aye, Captain. Dr. Chen, what's the status of the Void Shield? Is it ready for combat deployment? The scientist adjusted his glasses nervously. Theoretically, yes. But we've only run simulations, never a full-scale engagement with multiple hostiles. Today it gets a field test, Maya said grimly. Devi, prepare evacuation protocols for non-essential personnel to the emergency pods, just in case. The next 40 minutes passed in tense preparation. The Vigilant, despite its advanced technology, was outnumbered and facing an unknown enemy with superior numbers. But Maya had faith in her ship and crew, and in humanity's knack for surviving against impossible odds. As the deadline approached, the enemy fleet began to move. 3 of the smaller vessels advanced while the others maintained their blockade formation. They're targeting our propulsion systems, Omar reported. Looks like they want to disable rather than destroy us. That's their first mistake, Maya replied. They think we're defenseless. Let's show them how humans respond to threats. Engage Void Shield on my mark. The approaching Krell vessels opened fire, bright beams of energy lancing toward the Vigilant. In any normal ship, such an attack would have crippled the engines. Void Shield. Now. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as the energy weapons reached the Vigilant, they simply vanished. The attack disappeared into what appeared to be small, localized distortions in space-time around the ship's hull. On the tactical display, Maya could see the confusion in the Krell formation as their sensors tried to make sense of what had happened. Shield holding at 92% capacity, Dr. Chen reported, excitement breaking through his usual reserved demeanor. It's working. The shield is absorbing their energy weapons and storing the power for our use. Let's not waste it, Maya replied. Mr. Riley, target the lead vessel's weapon arrays. Precision strike only. I want to disable, not destroy. Targeting solutions ready, Captain. Fire. The Vigilant's response was precise and devastating. Beams of concentrated energy, ironically powered by the Krell's own weapons, lanced out and surgically struck the lead ship's primary weapon emplacements. Explosions blossomed across its hull as systems overloaded. Direct hits, Riley reported. Their primary weapons are offline. For a moment, the Krell ships hesitated, clearly surprised by the effectiveness of the Vigilant's defense and counterattack. Then, as if responding to a silent command, all remaining vessels began to advance. They're committing their full force, Commander Sharma observed. They didn't expect resistance. Maya nodded, and they certainly didn't expect to be effective. But we can't take on the entire fleet. Plot a tactical retreat to the Cygnus Nebula. We need to regroup and find a way to contact Earth. Course plotted, Omar confirmed. Execute. The Vigilant turned gracefully and accelerated away from the Krull fleet, its revolutionary drive system quickly putting distance between them and their pursuers. Behind them, the Krull ships scrambled to follow, but their formation was broken. The first round had gone to humanity. As they raced toward the nebula, Maya knew this was just the beginning. The Krell had underestimated humanity's lone ship, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. The real battle was yet to come, and the fate of human expansion into the stars hung in the balance. The Quantum Gambit. The swirling gases of the Cygnus Nebula enveloped the Vigilant like a shroud, interference from the cosmic dust and radiation providing temporary cover from the pursuing Krell fleet. On the bridge, Captain Maya Rice studied the tactical display with intense focus. The enemy vessels had spread out, methodically scanning the nebula for their quarry. "Status report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the circumstances. Dr. Chen looked up from his station. Void shield holding at 76% capacity. The engagement depleted more power than expected, but the system is stable. They're using some kind of advanced tracking technology, Omar added. Conventional stealth measures won't hide us for long. Maya nodded, having expected as much. And the quantum displacement drive. Dr. Chen exchanged a glance with Commander Sharma before responding. Fully operational, Captain, but using it under these conditions would be dangerous. Maya finished for him. I'm aware of the risks, Doctor, but we're out of conventional options. The quantum displacement drive was the Vigilant's most closely guarded secret, a revolutionary propulsion system that didn't just move through space, but could temporarily shift the vessel partially out of normal spacetime. It was the reason the ship had been patrolling the frontier alone, to test the technology far from prying eyes. Now, it might be their only salvation. New contacts, Omar suddenly announced. 5 more Krull vessels have entered the nebula. They're converging on our position from multiple vectors. Maya straightened her uniform, decision made. They're persistent, I'll give them that. But persistence without adaptability is just stubbornness. She tapped her console, bringing up a holographic display of the nebula. Here's what we're going to do. For the next several minutes, she outlined her plan to the senior staff. It was risky, borderline reckless, but faced with overwhelming odds, conventional tactics wouldn't suffice. Any questions? She asked when she'd finished. Riley raised his hand. With respect, Captain, if this fails, we'll be destroyed, Maya acknowledged. But if we do nothing, we'll be captured, our technology will be seized, and humanity will face a threat it isn't prepared for. I'm open to alternatives. Silence fell over the bridge. There were no better options. Very well. To your stations. Let's show the Krell what happens when you corner humans. The crew moved with renewed purpose, the tension on the bridge transforming into focused determination. Maya felt a surge of pride. Despite the danger, not one of them hesitated. They've located us, Omar reported minutes later. Multiple vessels closing from all directions. 2 minutes to weapon range. Hold position, Maya ordered, surprising the bridge crew. Let them come to us. The Krell ships converged like predators sensing wounded prey, no doubt believing the Vigilant was hiding due to damage or depleted defenses. Their confidence would be their undoing. All vessels now within 5,000 kilometers, Omar counted down. They're charging weapons. Now, Mr. Riley. Execute pattern Omega. The Vigilant suddenly erupted with activity. From concealed ports along its hull, dozens of small objects were ejected in all directions, quantum beacons, each programmed with a specific energy signature matching the Vigilant's profile. Simultaneously, Dr. Chen activated a modified version of the Void Shield, extending it outward in a rapidly expanding bubble that engulfed the nearest Krell ships before they could react. Shield expansion successful, Chen reported. Quantum beacons deployed and active. On the tactical display, Maya watched as the Krell ship's sensors became flooded with conflicting data. Suddenly, instead of one human vessel, They detected dozens, each giving off identical signatures, scattered throughout the nebula. Confusion in the Krell fleet, Omar reported with a hint of satisfaction. They're targeting the beacons, trying to determine which signature is genuine. Perfect, Maya replied. Phase 2. Prepare quantum displacement drive. Dr. Chen's fingers flew across his console. Drive spooling up. Displacement field forming. Captain, we've never attempted a tactical jump of this precision before. There's a first time for everything, Doctor. Target coordinates locked. Locked. Displacement in 3, 2, 1. Reality seemed to blur around them as the quantum displacement drive activated. Unlike conventional FTL systems that pushed a ship through normal space, the drive briefly shifted the Vigilant partially out of phase with normal spacetime, allowing it to skip between points without crossing the intervening distance. In an eye blink, the Vigilant vanished from its position and reappeared directly behind the Krell flagship, the massive vessel that had remained at the rear of the formation, directing the hunt. Quantum displacement successful, Dr. Chen announced, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Position exact to within 3 meters of target coordinates. Krell flagship directly ahead, Omar confirmed. They haven't detected us yet. Their sensors are still focused on the beacons. Maya leaned forward in her command chair. Mr. Riley, target their primary power core and engine systems. Precise strikes only. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Targeting solutions ready, Captain. Fire. The Vigilant unleashed a barrage of concentrated energy beams, each striking with surgical precision. The Krell flagship's shields, apparently unprepared for an attack from behind, flared briefly before collapsing. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull as critical systems were severed. Direct hits on all targets, Riley reported. Their main power is fluctuating, weapons offline, propulsion severely damaged. They're hailing us, Communications Officer Park announced, surprise evident in her voice. On screen, Admiral Vrex appeared, his command center now dimly lit by emergency lighting, damage visible in the background. His multiple eyes blinked rapidly, what Maya now recognized as a sign of agitation. Impossible, the Krell Admiral hissed. No human vessel possesses such technology. How did you? You made a critical error, Admiral, Maya interrupted calmly. You assumed that because humanity is younger than the Krell, we must be technologically inferior. You judged our capabilities by our age rather than our potential. She stood, facing the screen directly. The Vigilant carries technologies your sensors couldn't even detect. What you've witnessed is only a fraction of what we can deploy. Right now, similar vessels are being constructed in shipyards throughout human space. This last part was a bluff. The Vigilant was indeed unique, but the Krell didn't need to know that. Your position is clear, Maya continued. Your flagship is disabled, and the rest of your fleet is scattered and confused. I could destroy your vessel with a single command, but unlike the Krell, humanity prefers dialogue to destruction. Vrex's posture changed, the aggressive confidence now replaced with wary respect. What are your terms, Captain? Immediate withdrawal of all Krell forces from this sector, recognition of the existing human territorial boundaries, and formal diplomatic relations between our peoples, conducted properly through established channels. The Admiral was silent for a long moment before responding. The Dominion does not surrender territory. This isn't surrender, Admiral. It's recognition of reality. Your assessment of humanity was flawed. I suggest you reconsider before making the same mistake twice. To emphasize her point, Maya nodded to Riley, who targeted and destroyed an unpowered Krell weapon emplacement with a precision shot. The next target will be your life support systems, Maya stated calmly. Decide quickly, Admiral. The bridge fell silent as they waited for the Krell's response. Finally, Vrex spoke. We will withdraw. Your territorial claims will be provisionally respected, pending formal diplomatic discussions. Maya nodded. A wise decision. We'll transmit coordinates for a neutral meeting ground where our diplomats can meet in 30 days. Until then, the border remains as established in the Galactic Registry. After the transmission ended, the tension on the bridge finally broke. Commander Sharma was the first to speak. "Do you think they'll honor the agreement?" Maya watched on the tactical display as the Krell vessels regrouped around their damaged flagship. "They will for now. We've given them something to think about." The Krell thought they could intimidate us with superior numbers, but instead, they encountered technology they don't understand. That breeds caution, and when they discover the Vigilant is one of a kind. Dr. Chen asked quietly. "By then, it won't be," Maya replied with determination. "We've just accelerated humanity's technological development timeline considerably. Earth needs to prepare. This won't be our last encounter with the Krell." As the Vigilant set course for Earth, Maya gazed at the stars on the view screen. Humanity had faced its first major interstellar challenge and emerged victorious against overwhelming odds. The Krell had underestimated a single human ship and paid the price. It was a lesson the galaxy would soon learn. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation when backed into a corner. The lone ship had stood against an armada and changed the course of interstellar history. Maya smiled slightly. It wouldn't be the last time.